Welcome, Internet Nomad. Today I'm sharing a theory found online about As Dusk Falls. As Dusk Falls is one of the many games I played for my year of narrative games. It had beautiful art and a story that left plenty for the community to discuss. While many gamers, including myself, want a sequel, many of its secrets are already alluded to in the game. I could make many videos on this one game. Now my theories are usually found on the internet, and I explain how likely I am to buy in. Just remember, this is just a headcanon for me until proof comes out. This video will contain spoilers for some major plot points. If you haven't played the game, I'd advise you not to watch the video. If you don't care or played before, here's my video on the father of Jay. Jay believes he's the youngest son of Sharon and Bear. Sharon reveals that Jay is actually the son of Sharon's sister, who died during childbirth. The mystery of the father isn't clearly stated in the game. Many eagle-eyed gamers found evidence that Jim was the father of Jay. I found on Reddit this theory, where Jay might be the son of Jim. I'm going to read the entire post, and then break down why I think it is so. The user is named Petite Power. This is his response to a Reddit post about the ending of the game. The quote begins now. I definitely think Jim is Jay's father. 1. Jay is 18, and Paul mentions that he remembers Jim from 15 to 20 years ago at Sharon's bar. 2. Sharon reveals to Jay that he is her sister's child, and Tyler says Jay doesn't have a dad. 3. When Sharon enters the motel, Jim recognizes her and hides his face. 4. After your car breaks down and you walk to the motel, Jim lights a cigarette and says, "You've seen one motel, you've seen them all." He knows this place. If you choose to hide during the first police raid, Jim takes off running for the door. He gets hit on the head, and when you try to help him, he asks, "Do you know where we are?" And he replies, "Yeah, the Sand Bluff Motel." Joyce reveals that was the name of the motel before she bought it. Maybe he stayed in a room here? 5. The way in which Jim defends himself from Paul's allegations is quite aggressive, which means he's either afraid or ashamed of people finding out. Maybe he forced himself on Sharon's sister? 6. And of course, his ending voicemail to Zoe. He wanted to go back to Two Rock. Maybe he wanted to find Jay? 7. Jim has a huge nose. Jay has a huge nose. Vince has a small nose. This is perhaps the most compelling evidence for my theory. Not much to go on, but it's my theory. Jim is also definitely robbed the bank. Vanessa says her dad guards banks in a town that hasn't had a bank robbery in 20 years. The sheriff knows Jim. Before Jim's death, he's overheard saying, if he wants it, it's in Two Rock. And the fact that he wanted to go back there. He definitely stashed the cash somewhere. End quote. This is all theory, but I truly believe it. His first point about Paul seeing him at Sharon's bar around the time Jay was born. It is a clear fact by the end of the game that Jim has been to Two Rock once before. The second point about not having a dad means the father must have left Two Rock. Tyler doesn't say his father died. This hints at the fact that his father must have abandoned him. The role of the father was never fully taken by Jim. The third point about hiding his face from Sharon definitely points that Jim believes Sharon wouldn't be happy to see him. This means Jim must have done something against Sharon last time he was in Two Rocks. The fourth point about knowing the motel is a clear sign that Jim frequented the town at least. Saying the old name is a clear sign that he spent time there in the past. Fifth, the attitude towards Paul just means he did something wrong. Leaving Jay is a good reason to be defensive. I don't believe he did anything wrong. The whole idea of forcing himself doesn't align with his character. It could have happened, but there's no proof. Abandoning a son is worse enough. The voicemail about going back to Two Rock is a sign he has unfinished business there. It is just a weird request for a man who has zero connection to the place. Before he dies, he says it's in Two Rock. The nose joke was funny, but I'm sure Vince is really his son. Why would he abandon one son, Jay, just to stay as a father to Vince? Maybe Jim has already committed to one woman, and Sharon's sister was his affair. That makes the most sense to me. The idea of him robbing a bank is plausible, but I would have to replay the game to see the full picture. I only played one straight playthrough, so I don't have the authority to say that's what happened. I feel like this game doesn't waste dialogue though. If a person says something, it's definitely tied into the plot, so that mini theory at the end could be true. Jim has to be the father. He's the only character which it makes sense. This game is just packed with details. Maybe a sequel isn't on the table. I wonder what As a Dusk Falls 2 would even be about. With so many choices, changing some of the endings, the sequel will have to follow a concrete and canon ending. We have seen Life is Strange Double Exposure make a poor sequel to a Choice Matters game. I hope As Dusk Falls doesn't have a similar outcome. Farewell, Internet Nomad.